Hello, I'm James,
Hi, I'm Jimmy,
and welcome to A Job Done Well.
the podcast that helps you improve your performance and enjoyment at work.
Hello, how are you doing?
Hi, James. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm fabulous, thank you very much. What are we talking about today?
Well, today we are going to be talking about how to get promoted without selling your soul. So,
It's a bit late. I'm 50 flipping 7. I could have done with this 30 years ago.
yeah, fortunately, we're not the audience for this episode. We're going to be
Okay.
sharing our insights, our hints and tips on how to get
And wisdom.
promoted without playing games or compromising your values.
So it's like one of those things where you've got the role model to aspire to, and they don't do it like that as well. Between us, we'll have people on the right
We've
track.
got everything covered on this podcast, James.
Anyway, before we get into that, what have you been up to?
Well, obviously, you're just back from holiday, James. I haven't seen you for a
I
little
am.
while, so I've been pining for you. Apart from that, getting depressed at the weather, I think, which I don't like this time of year. And I'll tell you why. It's when you get into winter, you know the weather's going to be shit, and you get up each day and you expect it to be shit. At the moment, you're getting every season in one. You can't plan anything. You can't plan how to dress, and the nights are getting dark. It's miserable. So in case you hadn't, I'm suffering from seasonal disorder, whatever it is at the moment.
Sad, is that what you
I
are?
am sad, James. How about you? What have you been up to?
Well, I've been on holiday, and I can fully relate to it's that time of year because I've just been on holiday. I went to Italy for 2 weeks, lovely. But you're out in Italy, and it's nice and bright, and it's warm. And I always go this time of year because my kids were at school holiday. But then you come back, and it's the 1st of November. It's summer has gone. It is a bit of a shock to the system. So the weather is miserable.
One of the strategies I operated with for holidays is go somewhere hot at the end of February. I'll tell you.
End of February.
Yeah, I'll tell you the reason why. Because you're going through winter and it's all a bit miserable, but you can look forward to Christmas. Well, then after Christmas, you haven't got the long stretch of winter in front of you. You've only got to get through to February, and then you're getting somewhere hot, and then you come back, and lo and behold, spring has sprung.
Oh, I don't do that, mate. I'm phenomenally middle class.
You
I
are.
go skiing in February. I don't go somewhere hot.
So I don't get that. I mean, why would you want to go somewhere cold? We're cold here. It's plenty of cold.
Yeah, well, anyway, let's not talk about our holiday proclivities. Tell me then, how am I going to get promoted?
Let's start by just talking about our experience of promotions. So from my perspective, I had this slightly naive view when I was early in my career. I just thought if you worked hard, you got good results, you get promoted. It just was going to happen. You didn't need to do anything about it. Work hard, good results, good things will happen. And then as I got a bit more experience, I realized actually it's much more nuanced than that. And it becomes much more subjective about who's getting promoted. And it isn't just, unfortunately, this perfect world where hard work and results are all that counts. And so you get into not necessarily games playing, but you certainly have to do some of the things around your profile and stuff like that to some people are quite uncomfortable. For me, you have to balance up your personal desire to be promoted with your comfort at going beyond hard work and results to secure a promotion. But I definitely changed my view as I learned more in my career. What about you, James?
Well, I think actually when you're younger, sort of in your 20s, I think there's a lot of truth in what you say. If you work hard, get good results, you will get promoted. And the reason why I say that is you're at the bottom of the triangle, so to speak. So there are a lot more opportunities above you. And actually that is the way to get promoted. I would argue that's still the way to get promoted as you go through. Yeah, you have to play a slightly different game. But when you get to your, mid-30s and 40s, then those opportunities do dry up.
When I was in my 20s, James, I used to have this view of I want to be promoted in the next 6 months or 9 months or a year or 2 years, whatever it is. And I worked out when I looked back, just double everything. Double whatever your expectation is, you're nearer what's actually going to happen in reality. Anyhow, you were saying in your 30s and 40s.
Well, in my 30s and 40s, I think there's a big difference, right? So you've got, I like a little model, don't I? So I'll tell you my model. There's 2x2 grid.
Yeah.
On the one axis, you've got being good.
Yeah.
And on the other axis, you've got looking good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can be good and look good, which is really where I think you need to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or, and we'll all have worked some one of these clowns, somebody who looks good, but isn't good. So for me, I think the real trick is to find that sweet spot of being good and looking good. So there you go. There's the big intuitive thought, according to Lawther.
Well, let's go into a bit more detail. Context is really important when it comes to promotion, because you need to understand how promotions actually work in your organization, because it is different in different organizations.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Some organizations, and we've worked in some that have very formal processes where you have annual boards where everyone who's deemed as being promotionally ready gets discussed, and it's a very structured career framework.
Yeah, sorry to cut across. I always found that a bit strange when you're working somewhere and they have a 6-monthly promotion process. And I worked one place and they actually promoted people even if they didn't have jobs for them to go in, which struck me as a bit bizarre. But yeah, it really does vary from organisation to another.
Because promotions you don't need people in new jobs once every 6 months or once every year. It's ongoing.
You need them when you need them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think the other thing is who decides on a promotion. Is it your boss decides on if you are being promoted? Is it the hiring manager who decides? And that can all be true, but in lots of organizations, it can be a number of people who have a say in whether you're getting promoted or not. So it can be your boss, it can be HR people who might assess you, might look at you, might be other colleagues of your boss and the hiring manager who have perspectives on how you're performing. So it's worth understanding.
Well, and what's interesting, sorry to cut Chris again, but one of the things you haven't mentioned, some organizations do this, and maybe more should, but actually it's the people who work for you who decide whether or not you should be promoted. Yeah. And some organizations do that, but it's actually vanishingly rare.
It is. And I guess the point about the audience is that does mean, to your point about looking good, who are you going to look good to? Because you need to understand that audience who maybe, in your example, James, where there's a panel of people deciding, that's obvious. But informally, things can influence the promotions. So we would have both sat in teams where at times, I don't know, if I was going to promote someone, I might bring it back to our leadership team and say, I'm thinking of promoting X. And you would have an opinion on that. It wouldn't be official or formal, but you would be influencing my decision based on your perspective of that person. So understanding the process that's been followed and the people that are going to be involved, and then thinking about your strategy for managing that is an important part of managing the context, because it can be as much about navigating that system that you're getting promoted through as it can be on your own personal brilliance that is going to get you promoted.
Yeah. And if you're in a position where you are managing the system, it's probably worth standing back and saying, well, this is how our system works. What are the implications of that? Yeah. And what does that mean for the sort of behaviors we see in our organization? So I just topic a little bit, but it's an interesting.
That's true, because people do consciously or subconsciously make some of these decisions. And I guess one of the things that we would always say when we're talking about these subjects is we don't always have the right answers. We have some of the answers, some perspectives, but one of the things is being intentional. And I think that does apply to promotions. Be intentional about what your strategy is for getting promoted.
But your key point here really though is that getting promoted is as much about understanding the system and navigating the system that you work in as it is about personal excellence.
Absolutely. So I guess the next thing, after you think about the context you're in, before you do anything, you've really got to consider what is it that you really want. So think about your motivation. Why do you want promotion? You know, too many times I think people get promotion because they haven't really thought about why they want it. They're just going after it because they're on that corporate hamster wheel. And the next thing you do, isn't it? You've got to keep climbing the ladder and thinking about why you want to climb the ladder, because, you know, be careful what you wish for. I mean, in my experience, I was working in one organization once and there was a big promotion on offer there and people were putting me forward for this promotion and my ego got the better of me and I was like, yes, I should go for it. And then when I actually thought about the type of work I would be doing if I got promoted, I realized it was work I hated. And at the time I was doing work that I loved. So it's like, well, hang on a minute, why am I going to get put myself forward for a promotion to do work that I hate. So in the end, I did catch myself on before my ego got too out of control. And I turned around and said, no, I don't want, I would rather stay doing this job.
Yes. And I think your point about motives is really important. The problem is when you're in an organization, there is only one way of measuring yourself, which is how senior you are. And I've worked in organizations where you guess the grade of the manager by whether or not a carpet went all the way to the flipping edge of their office. Or do you have, I kid you not, did they have a circular table in their office as well as a desk, or was it a square table rammed in the corner? And then also, what was their job title? Have you ever noticed this? I'm going to digress again. Job title inflation.
Yeah.
A director is not what a director used to be when I started. Yeah. But the problem is everybody aspires to get that one step up the ladder because they want more money and they want more kudos.
Yeah.
But actually, is that going to give you what you want?
Yeah. Is that going to make you happy? I can outdo your carpet to the edge of the office.
Yeah.
I did actually get promoted in one organization, and I was made, I was in charge of the UK operation, and in the region that I was living in, there was a regional manager. And so when I was going to be in the office, I would be in the office for the regional manager, who's one of my direct reports. And this poor facilities guy said to me, look, I'm really sorry. We haven't got an office that's big enough for you in this building. I was like, that's okay. I don't need an office. He says, I'll convert a meeting room if you want. I was like, no, I'm quite all right. I'll just get me a desk. I'll be good. And anyway, he came back to me a couple of days later and said, look, I'm really sorry. I've got a massive problem. I can't find you a desk that is bigger than the regional managers. I was like, what do you mean? Like, for some reason, this regional manager had his desk. It was like the size of a small football pitch, and he couldn't find a desk that was bigger. I was like, I don't need a desk that's bigger. As long as I've got room for my laptop and a cup of tea, jobs are good. But he was absolutely distraught about the fact that he couldn't procure a bigger desk. Anyhow, we digress.
Well, we do sort of, but it comes back to the point of what are your values?
Yeah, what's important?
I mean, why is this promotion important to you?
Let's be clear. We're not saying that getting promoted is not a good thing. I mean, you can get more challenging work, you can get more interesting work, you can have a bigger impact, you can enjoy the trappings of it. So it's not necessarily a bad thing, but I think it's about being intentional, that you keep that balance between, why am I getting this promotion? Why do I want the promotion? What are my values around it? And understand that you are going to have to do something, almost certainly you're going to have to do something outside your core role of working hard and delivering great results. You will probably have to do more, especially as you say, James, as you get to more senior levels, it will be more involved, the things that are required. And so understanding and being intentional about thinking through your sweet spot, I think is really important. Our podcast is all about helping people, teams and organisations perform better and enjoy work more.
And I go as far as saying that we believe that everyone and every team has the potential to transform their performance by optimising what they currently do.
So if you'd like to discuss how we can help you transform your performance, then get in touch or maybe check out our website. We also do speaking events, mentoring and advice work as well.
The money is nice, but really when you're looking for a promotion, I think is this job going to be more interesting?
Yeah.
And then you can get more out of it. Because you can sell your soul if you want to, but that lies madness. But then having said all of that, right? So you've gone through that and you decided you do want this promotion.
Yeah.
What do you need to do about it then? What would your advice be?
So I think first off, I would think about how you position yourself, and I'd suggest the best way to position yourself is a way that you're comfortable with. So position yourself authentically. So I think there's a few things to consider on here. First off, I do think it is important to be delivering good results reliably. They still matter most of the time. So I think that's one thing, make sure that you're building on solid foundation. And we both know lots of people who don't do that. And it may work for a while, but you get yourself found out. And we know some people who are very
Well,
senior
2
in
or 3
organizations,
people, yeah, very senior.
but they have to
Lasts
move.
about 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, they move every couple of years because they get found out. And that's a strategy, isn't it? And if that's what you want to do, great, happy days, do that. But I think building on a solid ground of I deliver good results is a good starting point. And then,
okay, so deliver consistently.
yeah,
That's the point.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think then, but you do have to be seen. So back to my point about when I was early in my career, I thought just do great results and good things will happen. People don't always see those great results, so you do have to find ways of being visible through your contribution, being able to tell stories, being able to share, being able to show stuff, but not show off. So, one of the things that one of our old bosses really helped me with was he was saying, going and sharing your successes from the perspective of here's some things that have worked well that might be a help to you, offering it as help rather than showing off, done in the right way, lands really well. If you're just going off and showing off, I'm great, look at my results. But if you're doing it for the sake of helping people, that is one way of being seen and not showing off. Building advocates. So back to the point earlier about it can be a network of people that decide on your promotion, formally and informally. So building some advocates, people, not just your boss. No, don't leave it up to your boss. They've got plenty on as it is. And in some of those boards, panels, discussions, your bosses will often advocate for you, but they would do, wouldn't they? Because they're your boss.
Yeah, they would. Yeah.
Whereas somebody else then speaking up, who's not your boss, who's an advocate for you, that can be even way more powerful than your boss giving you the big up, can't it?
Well, yeah. And the other side of building advocates is don't go around pissing people off.
Yeah.
I know that sounds a bit, yeah. But you see people who do that. They go around, they don't care who they upset on the way, but they'll be heavily upset on the way up because you meet them on the way back down. It's very true. So if you want to be promoted, Lawther's words of wisdom, because I've done it, don't be a cock.
Yeah. I agree, James. I just wish when we were working together that you took your advice.
Come to that conclusion.
Yeah, it's only like 20 years too late. Anyhow, the other thing I would call out, which I know it sounds really obvious, but it's not, is let people know that you're ambitious, that you want to get on, and that you want promotion, you want a new job, whatever it is, because people aren't mind readers, and if you're really happy doing a job and you're getting on and you're busy and you never express anything wrong, people don't always know that you're up for it.
Oh, no, yeah. And well, people will even worse than that, they'll think you're not up for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you don't throw your hat into the ring, then you won't be considered. And I had an instance once when a boss of mine had moved on and there was an opportunity to take his role. Now, whether or not I kind of got it is a moot point, but I absolutely chose not to apply because I didn't like the guy I'd been working for.
Yeah.
But if you don't throw your hat in the ring, you don't stand a hope in hell of getting the job. So you do need to be signalling, yes, I'm ready for the next challenge.
And the reality is, if you are delivering good, solid, consistent, high-performing results, it's probably in everyone's interest to keep you in the status quo because you're doing well. Why would you want to move it? So you do have to get that balance between delivery and actually the potential for getting promoted.
So you've got them. Let me go through what you've just said. So you've got deliver consistently.
Yeah.
You need to be seen.
Yeah.
You need to be building advocates. You need to be asking for the promotion. People need to know you want one. Anything else?
Well, yeah, I think when you're talking to people, you should be talking about the value you bring to an organization, to a business, and really focused on the outcomes that you're getting for that business. So talk the language of value, I think, is another way of thinking about it, particularly when you're going and sharing what you're doing.
And that was what's a quote? Something along the lines of, you can't be promoted for potential if nobody knows what your potential is. So it's not showboating. It really is just getting people to understand how you can help.
But I think one of the key points is on a number of these things, James, you probably will have to get out of your comfort zone. Because often we're in our comfort zone, doing a great job, delivering great results, but going and sharing them and telling people and building advocates, talking the language of value, that can all be outside your comfort zone. So you have to be A, intentional about that, and B, you have to have the desire to do that. So you have to balance your desire to get promoted with your desire to come out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, and there's this whole thing about rejection as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's always the fear of rejection. Yeah, you might reject, but faint heart never won fair lady. So you got to have a go if you really want to.
I think there are also some other things to watch out for on this journey to promotion. One of them, back to the delivery point, is don't use getting great results as an excuse for not doing some of the other stuff. So that might be your comfort zone, but it's really easy to justify, I should be in here cracking on doing these great results and not doing the other stuff. So don't just get sucked into that performance trap.
Yeah. And that just tied back to the whole thing about fear of failure. If you're doing a great job but nobody knows you want anything else, people will just assume you don't want it. And yeah, like you say, the performance trap.
Another trap to avoid is just playing politics. There's lots of people in organizations that just play games. They get attention for all the wrong things. That doesn't last. People can see through it, and you can really damage your trust if people see that you're just playing games. How many people, we've talked about it in the past, so-and-so, he was really good at managing upwards. And we would always say that as not as a positive. It wasn't they were very good, they were very networked, they were very capable. It's a droglacy thing, because
it's about when you've got your nose, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It was always they were very good at managing upwards, but they actually didn't do any work. They didn't do any of the delivery.
Dreadful at managing downwards. Yeah. So you don't want to be caught in the politics trap, then. What else have you got?
I think the other one is, try and avoid just getting burnt out driving for promotion. People can just work harder and harder to really take on more and more, give me more work, give me more projects, give me more, and you just burn yourself out. And then your stress is shot to pieces, your performance will be shot to pieces. So just watch on the taking on too much bit.
And there's an interesting point there as well, which maybe we should have another episode about. But if you're managing, or if you're a manager, it's not so you're managing people. So the challenge is not to take it all on yourself, but to get the most out of your team. Yeah. So really, that's the challenge there. You can avoid burnout by giving your team good, interesting, exciting work, and then the results will come. So yeah, absolutely agree with that one.
And I think don't get caught in the fairness myth, because promotions aren't always done on a meritocracy basis. We all think this is wonderfully fair, and there are many times, I don't even remember, James, many years ago, us working together in a team, and we asked our boss about how you could do better, and he told us a few of the guys in another team who were all deemed to be promotionally ready, and we were spewing because we didn't see it, we didn't experience it, we didn't experience positive from them. But you could get really, burnt up by that unfairness if you're not careful.
Yeah, and I think that's real key point here really is the promotion will not be purely merit-based. It never is. But in most organizations, it's not purely political either. It sits somewhere between the two. So to your point, understand the system and work with the system. We hope you're enjoying and getting value from listening to our podcast.
If you are, please can you share it online on social media with friends and colleagues?
We appreciate 5-star reviews, and we really do, but any feedback on how we can improve or subject that you'd like us to cover, just drop us a line and get in touch.
This all helps us bring the best quality show to you to ensure that you can improve your performance and enjoyment at work. So we've got a few final practical tips. So I think working out your style of visibility, whether that's sharing some of your successes so other people can learn, whether that's speaking up at times, whether that's mentoring people, whether that's asking for help and getting mentored by others. That's often a really good way of building someone to be an advocate of yours if they feel a vested interest in your performance because they've mentored you. That's another way of doing it. But I think being conscious and being comfortable with your approach so you don't get caught in I feel that I'm just showboating for no reason. Always do that with some purpose in mind. Understand what does good look like where you are. How is success rewarded, particularly if you're new to an organization and you want to get on. Just understand formally, but also the informal ways things are done. So how is success measured?
Let me throw one in then. I think getting feedback and getting feedback early and often. Yeah, so find out what your boss thinks about you. Find out what he thinks his peers think about you. It depends on the system, of course, you're working in, but who are the decision makers, and get the feedback for them. Find out what you need to do different.
Yeah. And I would also think about how you can support others and support others to do their job, support others to develop, support others to get on, because the more people that you're helping, the more likely you are to have advocates and support. And people do get noticed for their leadership, and those things do really count at times.
Yeah.
Keep a record of your performance. You often end up sitting down and having that intensive review at the end of the year. You can't remember what you did in Q1. You have not got any idea. So just make some rough notes during the year of things that you're proudest of, things that you've achieved the most. So when you do sit down with your boss, inevitably, as a part of that performance review, you've got everything to hand and you can remind yourself about the great things that you've done.
Yeah. And I think the final one, and I've got two for you, actually.
Go on then.
First off, you do need to step out of your comfort zone. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, you may get knocked back. Yeah. You may hate networking with people, but these are the things that you need to do. So if that's what's important to you, yeah, you've got to step out of your comfort zone and do them.
I think that's true, James. Just on that point, both of us had in our career had a different comfort zone, and that got us an outcome that we were happy with. So that's the sweet spot you want to be, is on the edge of your comfort zone, but getting the outcomes that you want to get to. If your desire for outcomes is much greater, you have to extend your comfort zone. You have to keep expanding it, but you've got to be happy with both your approach and the outcome that you're gunning for. Go on, you had one more.
Yeah. If your chief executive says something really fucking stupid, you don't have to tell him. That would be my last piece of advice.
That sounds like you're speaking from bitter experience there, James.
Sometimes you just need to tell the emperor he is wearing some clothes.
Exactly, James, exactly. So just some final reflections on promotion. Remember, promotion is only one form of progress. It's not the only one. Growth, changing a job, changing responsibilities you have, that can be the best move, because you get your happiness through your work. You don't get your happiness just through your promotion. Remember that.
One of the nicest things I remember hearing about something with one of those promotion panels, but we were talking about somebody, our boss said that she was running her own race, which I thought was a really nice way of putting it. Yeah, what's important to you, run that race.
Well, the real win is when the work you're doing aligns with your skills, so you're getting good performance. It's something you enjoy, that you're passionate about, and it aligns with your values. Quite often, promotions might stretch that. So think about that. We've shared some of our experiences, some of our hints and tips about how you can think about promotions and how you can get promotions.
So let's summarize that then.
Okay.
So for me, key first point is understand your motivations. Why do you want this job, this promotion, and is it really going to make your life better?
And be intentional about all of the decisions that you are making, and understand the context and the rules of your organization. How are promotions decided? Not just the formal routes, but the informal routes.
The key thing for me is you do need to deliver. So deliver constantly. It's not the only game in town, but you need to deliver.
And when you're delivering, be seen for delivery, but seen but not showy.
Build advocates around the organization, so people who will say nice things about you. And that's not just looking up the way, but that is also, and maybe just as importantly, the people who are working for you. You don't want them bad-mouthing you either.
Talk about the value that you bring to the organization and to others in the organization.
Yeah. Avoid playing politics. You don't want to be known as the person who's good at managing upwards.
And one final point, please remember, let people know that you want to be promoted. If you don't ask for it, people aren't always going to know that you're up for being promoted.
Yeah. And one final point, don't tell your chief executive he's a cock. No matter how nicely you put it, it's a big mistake.
there speaks the voice of experience. On that note, hope you've
I'll speak to you next week.
Yeah, hope you've enjoyed today's episode, and we'll speak to you next week. Take care, everyone.
Cheers.
We cover a whole host of topics on this podcast,
From purpose to corporate jargon.
but always focused on one thing: getting the job done well.
Easier said than done. So, if you've got unhappy customers or employees, bosses or regulators breathing down your neck,
If your backlogs are out of control and your costs are spiraling, and that big IT transformation project that you've been promised just keeps failing to deliver,
we can help. If you need to improve your performance, your team's performance, or your organisation's, get in touch at jimmy@ajobdonewell.com.
or James@jobdonewell.com.